Good morning, Josh. We're back the day after the elections. We all made it through that day.
We made it. We made it. But we're not going to talk politics because
No, we're not going to talk
that
politics,
doesn't have a
but the
place here.
stress around this type of situation, how is that affecting all of us? Because no matter who you voted for, and please, I hope that you all voted because that is our responsibility as citizens. But now the deed is done. And
Yeah. And I
taking
think
that stress. Go ahead.
it's
moving
important.
forward.
It's important because I think as we age, right, one of the things that we talk about a lot is being able to maintain our sense of peace. I've been doing a lot of work myself on how I maintain that peace and I sort of just exist in the moment. And that's something that's really important for how we age.
Well, I would say managing all the things that are happening because we were having a conversation the other day and I was talking about, the stresses in my life, my kids, and, on top of that, the election and, work response, all these things. And I made the comment, it's a wonder I don't look like I'm 1,000 years old. And at the same time, how are you mitigating that stress? Because we all have it without it taking an effect on our health, on how we look. Because, we're all vested in staying healthy. For looks is one reason. I mean, nobody's going to lie and say, oh, I want to look like I'm, 50 years old if I'm 30. No, nobody's going to say that. I want to look 30 years old if I'm 50. But in the midst of all of these stressors that we have in life, how is it that we mitigate that? And it's, as we've talked about before, small lifestyle habits that we just continually commit to or
Well, yes,
recommit to.
yes. And I think, though, after a day like yesterday, and I think no matter who you voted for, there's a lot of stress, right? There's stress about wanting the other person to have won. There's stress about, what your candidate potentially is going to enact, right? That is on your checklist of things that you're interested in. Either way, there are some things though that you can do in order to mitigate some of this stress because stress at that level really takes hold in all kinds of parts of your body, right? It makes you more susceptible to being sick. It makes you more susceptible to being, injured. It disrupts sleep. It does all those things that have downstream effects. So a couple of things that I do, Janae, in order to help mitigate that. I really love Yoga Nidra, which I think I can probably credit Andrew Huberman with and his podcast. Yeah, so I do that a couple times a week. I just take, whether it's 10 to 20 or sometimes 30, depending on what it is, take a guided meditation and really think through that. And it really resets my nervous system and puts my body at ease, right? So that's one thing that I do. The other is being consistent with the sleep.
Yeah.
And I think that's very important. It allows the body to recharge and to reset that baseline. Even if you're not getting the good sleep, it really does help to have that consistent routine over time. What do you do?
Well, right after we're done with this, I'm going to get in the bathtub and I'm going to soak in salt water for at least 30 minutes. That is what I need to reset my body. And this is one of those things where when you're listening to your body will tell you the things that you want and need. So, I woke up today and just really still feeling the buzz of all the stress that has come from this week. And also connecting, I think this elevated stress that we've all been having from the elections, how that's played out in my relationships with my kids. And that's created more stress for me because even though the election isn't related to my relationship with my kids, I've felt more stressed. So I've been less patient with them.
Sure.
And then I get hard on myself because I've been less patient. And then I look at the big picture and I'm like, the elections, my kids, extra responsibility, it's all feels like it's crashing down on me. It makes sense that I feel more vulnerable right now. And what I want to do is just sit in a warm bathtub, with that warm water wrapped around me and feel cozy. So it's not really about like, oh, you should go take a bath. It's you should listen to what your body's calling for. And that's how I interpret it with myself for what I want. So how do you interpret that with yourself? That's the question to ask.
Yeah, I think so. So this is what I would leave folks with, right? Nothing is ever as good or bad as it seems. I love that line. In the moment, it might feel fantastic or might feel horrible, but nothing is ever as good or bad as it seems. So,
Yes.
take
And
that to note. Yeah.
the one thing I want to leave with everybody is you know, I felt with the election, it's like, oh, whatever happens, that's going to dictate what's going to happen in my life. But the truth is, I dictate what happens in my life. And no matter who wins the election, it's my life is going to have the results that my life is going to have because of what I do, not because of who's president, not because of what happens outside of me or you. And that's where we get to take that full accountability for our own lives. And that's actually very empowering. So nothing is ever
That's
as
right.
good or bad as it seems, because
right.
you have the power to change any situation in your life.
For sure. All right. Well, have a great day, Janae.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, Josh.